as we welcome in one of the greatest voices that you'll ever hear in Sacramento. And I used the line the other day, Frank Red crawled so D'Lo and KC could walk.
That's fact.
Many people are familiar with In the Dungeon, which used to air down south on the Bad Guys radio station many years ago. Frank, man, we'll let the love fest that started during the commercial break continue here now that we're live on the radio. We grew up listening to you, man. There weren't a lot of people who talk sports, who meshed the world of sports and hip hop together, man. And you were one of one, and you set the trail that Kenny and I can follow here today.
Well, thank you for those kind words, and I got to give a shout out to Tony Scott, who gave me Tony Cox, my first PD. Mike Ramey, Dow you talked about, he gave me an opportunity, and I never stopped thinking about the future and about folks that would come after me. When the show was over, I was okay. I had a really nice run, but what I wanted to do was make sure that the platform and the foundation was set for brothers like you all to come next, or sisters, or whomever, and no one could say anything about the show that was negative. I was prepared. I was articulate. I was courteous. I did all the things that I thought would create a foundation for brothers and sisters to come after me. And just to see you guys putting it down on a daily basis really validates what I was trying to do on Sunday nights.
Frank, first of all, this is Frank coming in here, man. Come on. Air horns have to happen. You know, Frank Red coming in. Got to have air horns, sure. But I'm interested in, you get this opportunity. I can't even think of the year, but it's not the same with podcasts and, having an opportunity to work on your craft like we do nowadays before you even get on the air. And you had an idea for a show that hadn't, in my opinion, I hadn't heard before. I don't think it had been done before. Where did you get the idea that this is how I'm going to do a sports show, knowing that you probably had never heard a sports show done like that before?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it sounds bodacious in some respects, but then the Dungeon Show was the first show in the country that combined hip hop and sports. And, I was working in sales. I was a salesman, and I was driving around maybe on 80, and I used to listen to Guy Radnich. And Guy Radnich on KNBR, Guy Radnich had personality, and he knew how to engage folks. And I liked that. But I was like, there's something missing. And Sway Calloway, Hall of Fame radio guy now, Sirius XM, Sway and I are friends. And before I was a radio host, I'm a rapper also. I'm an artist. So I know a lot about hip hop. I played D1 basketball and football. Great coaches, teammates, and I've been a coach myself. So all of these interests that I had, I just kind of said, wow, what if I did this? And kind of theorized it, put it together. To be quite honest with you, Dusty Baker, Sacramento Zone, was the first guy to give me an interview. I want to shout out Dusty Baker because, literally one of the coolest guys on the planet. So everybody has a moment. My moment was driving on 80, conceiving what could be. I had a lot of help from my man, Profess, who was my music producer. We put the show together. I walked into KMJI. They thought I was a professional athlete, which is the only reason why they even talked to me. Yeah, I'm about 6'6", 6'7", about 280, 290. And the receptionist runs and gets the program director, Tony Cox. And he's like, who the hell is this? And I was like, yo, I'm such and such. I want to do a show. He said, well, come back and talk to me in my office. This is a Friday. Mm-hmm. I come back on Monday. Even the fact that I got into the building, he talked to me and everything. Ebro was working there. You see, Ebro's a giant in the game now, but Ebro used to work there. So Ebro and I kind of started. He takes my tape out of his desk and he goes like this. He goes, you know what? I get a lot of tapes all the time. He goes, nobody has what you have on this tape. I was like, wow. Can you say that again? You know, so he goes, but I can't hire you. And I was like, oh man. So I was a salesman. I actually went around Sacramento and got advertisement for my show and came back to him. I think it was like on 12th Ave. I can't remember. There was a woman who has a soul food restaurant on like 12th Street. I can't remember. The first exit off of 50. I love you. She wrote me a check to advertise on a radio show that only me and maybe two of my friends were listening to.
Wow.
That was it. But that was the start of it. And over time, I developed a style. People showed me love. And I just kind of built it from there. The rest was history. But it really started like that, man. I mean, things can happen.
I want to put that in context for people. Like, we you know, Kenny and I come out here every day, just as Frank did, and we try to do the best we can, and we try to put on something that's compelling and entertaining. And whether we have an audience of 10 or an audience of 1 million, the most important component, and this is the case with most businesses, the most important component to this show isn't Jesse or Kenny or Damian. It's Rick Ross. It's Rick Ross, and it's Brett Barish, and it's Black Bottles 916, and it's Ben, and it's that group who came in here and said, you know what? This is dope. We need a partnership with D-Lo and KC, and that's why, you know, for those who were tuning in, you see the bottles behind us. That's for those who follow us on social media. You see, like, I've had so many people ask if we're like owners of Luke Belair and McQueen and the Violet Fog and all of that. And like, that's the importance of advertising, because you go to Ebro and you say, yo, it's not just a radio show I got you now. It's money coming into your radio station. And man, boy, program directors and managers, their ears perk up when you say, no, I'm not just coming with my talents. I'm coming with money.
Absolutely. But, you know, it's interesting. Once you get the advertising, then the content in the show has to work. And you two gentlemen have crafted a show that is unique, that is engaging and entertaining. And that's why the advertisement stays, because you need all of these entities together working towards a common goal. So advertising is very, very important, but the ears, the listeners, and the engagement that you all provide on a daily basis is just as important.
Frank, I'm still going down memory lane, man. And I don't know when I started listening to In the Dungeon, but I know for years, like when I say when, I don't know if it was the first show or what, but I know for years, every Sunday, you know, I'd turn on the radio. Frank Red would be talking his talk. I'm on the sticks, you know, playing Xbox or PlayStation, and that's how I'd spend the next 2 hours. Do you remember your first show and just kind of your feelings going into that show? Nervousness, not uncertainty. What was going through your head on that first show?
As you said, my nervousness was on 10. You know, I mean, I'll tell you, I don't know when it was, my first couple of shows, a mistake that I made on air, and I laugh about it. I called Evander Holyfield, Evanderfield, because I was so nervous. You know, you want to get the information out. But I approach doing radio like I approach playing sports and coaching. And that really gets back to the preparation. So the amount of time that I spent to do a 2-hour once a week show was pretty substantial. I mean, I had notes, I had stats, I had everything. The music catalogs, the music, I mean, I would spend a whole week thinking about what I wanted to play. I would reach out to various people. So just like in sports, when you practice well, you generally play well. When you don't practice well, you don't play well. So I had to approach it from a fundamental perspective to get ready for those 2 hours, because I mean, my mindset was, yo, this could be my last show. I lasted over 10 years, but I always felt like it could be my last show. And even when I had like high ratings or it was a top show, I didn't care. I just really, really put forth the effort, and I tried to do my best and be courteous to folks and just be professional. So I was real nervous the first show.
That's Frank Red with us here on ESPN 1320 KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento, and Odyssey Station, and driven by Lasher's Elk Grove Dodge. How long ago did In the Dungeon end?
Wow. Probably about, I'm going to say about 12, 13 years ago.
No.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And, you know, I mean, the show had a good run. Sometimes I think, though, as popular as the show was, if it came along in today's like social media and all the access, it probably would have been just as successful, you know. So
it'd have been bigger. Yeah. It'd have been a monster. Yeah, you know, it would have been a monster.
So, you know, I mean, I had some challenges in my life following that. So, you know, God kind of works in mysterious ways, lets you know that, maybe you need a break. So, everything kind of worked out the way it did. My only challenge was I just didn't like the way it ended because so much had been given to me and I didn't have an opportunity to, to let the listeners know how much I really appreciated it. That was the thing that really got me.
Yeah. Frank, you know, we can't talk to Frank Red and not talk a little hip hop. And I don't know if you got a chance to hear the discussion that we're having, about 20, 30 minutes ago about Kanye and his new documentary that's out. And, you know, there's a lot, people have a lot of different feelings about Kanye, but I think myself and Damien, we just, we talked about how regardless of how you feel about him, there's no denying what he is to hip hop and what he's been able to contribute to music and to the culture. Do you still look at Kanye right now as, one of the handful of guys, icons in the history of hip hop?
Absolutely. I love to work with him. I mean, if there's one person who can bring the best out of you as an artist, Kanye's right there. You know, you talk about Dr. Dre and I mean, he's like Quincy Jones, man. When I think of Kanye Jones, when I think of Kanye West, I think of Quincy Jones. He is he's a maestro, and he approaches making music like great coaches approach coaching teams. He's very collaborative. You know, back in the day, the idea of someone not writing their own lyrics was like a stain on you. Kanye changed the whole game. He wants the best writers. He'll fly them out to Hawaii. He wants the best bass player. If you watch like some of the YouTube videos, Kanye's not the one who necessarily is creating these incredible bass lines. You know, he goes and gets the best bass line player, the best of everything. So, nah, man, I mean, I try to stay away from his non-music takes on things that are sometimes ridiculous. But when you just
we all try to stay away from that.
Yeah, because it doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah.
But musically, oh man, I love listening to his music.
Yeah. Real quick, Dave, what you just mentioned with Kanye, you know who it reminds me of, and what I've heard people talk about is with Puffy. Yes. Like Puffy's not. He doesn't, the sound of Puffy, or he's not getting on the boards or getting in there, but like a great coach, he understands what it takes to have a great team. And if that means getting a hitman, if that means getting this writer, if that means getting this singer, Puffy may not do none of that, but he understands the components necessary to make a hit song or a hit record or anything like that. And that's kind of, when you described that, it reminded me of Puffy a lot.
Great point. Yeah, I totally agree.
It's an ear too. It's like no, move this here, move this here, and all of a sudden it creates an entirely different sound. Frank, was there resistance when you started your show from the audience, particularly when you started at 1140 and you're talking to a sports audience, a primary sports audience, and the makeup for sports talk radio has traditionally been older white men. And did you face resistance when In the Dungeon started?
Absolutely. I did. But again, I always take it from like a coaching or a player's perspective. And the one thing that I'll say about the audience, if you engage the audience, whether even if they don't think they're going to like you or like what you're doing from the start, but if you engage the audience and you can build a thesis and support it with evidence, they'll listen. And then over a period of time, they'll make a decision of whether or not they like you. You know what I'm saying? So what I tried to do was just make sure that my content was A1. Mm-hmm. You know, my facts were always very, very correct and serious, to the point where people could disagree with me, but they couldn't really challenge whether or not I knew what I was talking about. And I knew a lot of people, and I was engaged in some of the topics that I was talking about. But yes, I had resistance, but you know what though? I was on air. It's like when somebody says, you know what, you can't play. Yeah, but I'm on the court. All right. You know, you sitting in the stands telling me that I can't play, but I'm on the court. All right. So watch me. So that was my mentality, man. I took it like like I was balling at Rucker Park in New York, or playing against, you know, Jordan or Mullen or anybody. You know, that was my opportunity. It was the happiest time of my life. Right. You know, I'll tell you that right now.
Casey, I feel like there's an important note to pull out. When Kenny and I started this show, we made the decision, like, we've got to do this show the way we want to. And that involves like our interactions, our guests, and our conversations. And it's okay to fail when you present something the way you want to. Mm-hmm. It's significantly tougher to fail when you're presenting what somebody else is telling you to present. Mm-hmm. And that's where, you know, we constantly show love to Danny in San Francisco for kind of giving us the leeway to he has our focus in the right spot on the Sacramento Kings and the San Francisco 49ers. But when Kanye comes up and when hip hop comes up, we have the ability to deliver those messages. Or when social justice issues come up, we have the ability to deliver those messages in ways that other people can't. And as long as we do that with the same integrity that we talk about the Sacramento Kings and the San Francisco 49ers, I think is going to come across universally to people. Yeah,
no, that's a great point. And I also want to acknowledge, man, I have some of the best producers, partners this industry has ever seen. And to this day, I mean, our relationships are rock solid. I mean, Sean Cunningham, you know, Shawnee, that's my boy, all right? And to see his ascension in this media game, it literally brings tears to my eyes, man, because this is a guy who worked his tail off, who was loyal as hell and helped me be better. Little Joe, you know, that's my guy, man. You know, I work with so many people that are like prospering and reaching great heights in this industry. I mean, it makes me feel good. I mean, John Dickerson on 95.7. I mean, this guy is a real prominent name in the industry. He literally started on my show, you know, and he built his resume, built his game, and look at him now. So I have nothing but pride with the people that I work with, and there's no one who can say anything negative about me. And I think that goes back to just my upbringing, who I am as a person. Integrity means a lot to me, and you know, I take pride in that, man. So I just wanted to say that.
And you know, Frank probably doesn't remember this or know this at all. I reached out to Frank, somehow got his email while the show was going on. And I said, you know, Frank, I love the show. You know, this is what I'm trying to do. And, you know, do you have any words of encouragement? I was like, do you have a job for me? Something like that. And took the time out and responded. And he gave me, you know, a thoughtful answer back, a detailed answer, you know, advice, stay true to yourself at all times, man. And at the time, you were probably just being yourself, being courteous, being respectful. But it meant the world to somebody like myself, who, you know, looked at you and looked at what you were doing as motivation and inspiration for what could be, you know, out here in this media game. And like, you just never know who you're going to touch. You know, now, you know, I got a platform myself, but I never forget reaching out to somebody like yourself and you taking the time to reach back out to me and give me words of advice and encouragement, man. So like I said, it was random. It was really random. I don't expect you to remember it. It's fine that you don't, but it happened. You know what I mean? It happened, and I never forgot it.
Well, you know what? I remember writing some emails, so I don't remember specifically, but look at you now, man. You're balling, dude. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for that. And yo, man, I am so lucky. You know how blessed I've been in my life. I mean, no one does it alone. Nobody. You know, your first, like you have like a lot of coaches, and sometimes, oh yeah, I want this job, that job. You know what I say? You know what's my best job? The job that I have. You know, I'm not worried about some other job. I'm worried about doing the best job that I can do right now. And you know, I have to give back, man. So thank you for enlightening me about that, because I didn't remember it specifically. But it sounds like something I would do though.
Do you miss it? Do you miss talking sports? Do you miss talking hip hop? You miss the radio, that form of communication?
Well, you know, I have a lot of interests. You know, I have a career that I work in that I think I'm pretty good at. That allows me to impact lives of folks. I miss coaching. I've coached for a long period of time, and I'm in the process of making music. So I love going in the studio, writing, making songs, and you know, sports talk radio is something that it took me a long time to just even accept the fact that I was good at it. You know, because nobody ever comes and says, you know what, you're good at this, and it's a pretty competitive business where, you know, people are kind of like always kind of looking at you a little bit, you know, maybe hoping you'll fall, and then they realize, you know what, I can't root against this guy. This guy's a good guy. Why am I rooting against this guy? So if I ever had an opportunity like the one that I had, where that show was 100% me. Mike Ramey, my program directors, never tried to alter the show at all. So it was fun. It wasn't a job to me. If I could do it and do it the way that I want to do it, and have everybody be happy, then I take a look at the opportunity. But if I ever had just a job to do something in a way that was going to please somebody else, it's not what I want to do. So I miss it a little bit because it's so natural. You know, it's something I know how to do. But has to be the right situation.
It's interesting to hear you say that, because you know, this is the only thing, and there'll be plenty of people who disagree. This is the only thing I feel like I'm good at. You know, like I feel like everybody, and that really just speaks to who you and what you are, Frank. Because I feel like everybody, if you're, hopefully everyone's lucky enough to find it, but everybody is really great at something, and some people can't find it. Like some people can't find the thing that they're great at. I went away from this for a while. I feel like this is it. Like there are other things that have my interest, but there is nothing that I put more love and passion into than this ability to communicate with so many people. And to hear you say like it's just fascinating that you have so many, and you're probably great at all of them. And it's why people like me are jealous of you. Like he out here rapping, making beats. He a ball player. He an athlete. Oh, I'm just happy to be really, really good on the radio with this $1 million voice as well.
You know what? There's a lot of sacrifices that you have to accept because of your passions. You know, I mean, you could, you know, pull out your couch and I could start laying down and tell you about all of them that I've had to do. But I mean, but the reality is, you know, I've never been married. You know, I've consistently and I thought I was going to get married and ultimately have like 4 or 5 kids. Like my mom had 4 children. But yeah, man, we all have passions. We are all dreamers, and I live through other people's dreams. I learn and I breathe that. You know, I mean, there are people like you know, like you guys who, I mean, literally, man. I mean, to see you guys on this platform, to know that I had a little bit to do with that is awesome, and it's worth the sacrifices. And many of my friends who are professional coaches, you know, millionaires. I mean, I coached a kid who became a first-round draft pick, you know, when he was 12 years old. You know, I mean, really? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to have like a little impact on the lives of people who ultimately accomplish their goals and their dreams. It's life changing. So, I feel what I was doing was worthy.
Frank, you got a home on this show. Anytime you want to come hang out, man. You are always welcome. I feel like we're just scratching the surface here with Frank Red, man. But you're always welcome on this show. We appreciate you so much. We're back.